What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. All right, guys, I was doing a little bit of rereading of the Phase 2.0, Land Phase 2.0 white paper, and a thought occurred to me as I was trying to figure out, like, what is the order in which we can see Land 2.0 potentially come on? And I don't necessarily have an answer for that from like the team should do this, X, Y, and Z. I'm sure, there's smarter, more brilliant people working on it like Farpetrod and Matt. But one of the things that stuck out to me as an opportunity for everybody to participate in Land that would also help to eat through a lot of the Chaos Legion overhang is the Ancient Ruins, right? So that fifth part that was put out in the white paper, if you want to go read through it directly, that talked about essentially a kind of infinite card staking in order to receive gemstones. Now, this would help cover a lot of things. It would help to solve a lot of problems within the economy, in my opinion. And I know some people are going to look at this and say, well, it's you're just looking at this from a short-term perspective. The team isn't focused on that. And fine, I'll concede that. Although the team wants to get this going at some point in the future, so implementing it earlier isn't necessarily short-sighted in my opinion. Right? It's not a band-aid fix. It's just an earlier implementation of one area of Land 1 or Land 2.0 rather than maybe pushing it off until later. So I want to talk through what the benefits would be, and then of course the potential downsides, because there's always a risk, there's always a trade-off. But even with the trade-off, I think there is something valuable, or at least something that the team could do. So here's how I see it: the infinite card staking is to get gemstones, right? And if the team were to implement that early, say even like Q2 of this year, where it doesn't have anything to do with Land, right? You could, on any account, essentially get cards, max level, stake them, and then, of course, also have the appropriate amount of staked SPS. You will start receiving gemstones. Now, what are these gemstones going to do for you in the short term? Nothing, right? But it's the same thing as research. And you see a lot of people going after research. And one of the main reasons that I'm like thinking through this of how people can get re-engaged with Land without actually having to do anything with Land is because we've hit a standstill, right? We have not, we're at 1.46 billion DEC stake for Land. We've only added like less than 20 million to Land over the past couple of weeks because people at this point don't see a need in going further, right? The people who are there and want to participate are going for it. But let's say you had extra cards, or let's say you had extra SPS and just wanted to start in the same way that people are going after research. You just wanted to start going after gemstones because these things will have value in the future. Well, all of a sudden we could start to eat up. We could start to solve two problems, right? You could start to solve the card overhang of Chaos Legion and Chaos Legion rewards, because people will start to go and be like, I have this card just sitting here. I could rent it out, even though the rental market's kind of meh, right? Or I could just start getting gemstones because I trust where the team is going. And in the same way that I'm doing research, I want to be able to start getting these gemstones. And then on top of that, you will also be required to delegate some staked SPS to whatever account or however the mechanism they have it. So all of a sudden we can eat through two things: the card overhang and the SPS overhang, because now it's just like, I want to be able to use this for playing, but at the same time, for like the reward multiplier from ranked battles, but at the same time, I want to also be able to maximize whatever I'm doing for cards, right? Sorry, not for cards, for gemstones. So you'd get people who started to take advantage of that, and whether they're old or new, and especially newer players coming in who are just like, I don't know what's happening on Land, but I kind of want to be involved. Maybe I don't want to go spend and do all these things on Land, but I can buy like a $4 card off the marketplace, and I can put some SPS towards it and just, stake it there and do whatever, right? So I really like the idea of implementing it sooner rather than later, because it fixes two things that I think are really just like not the underlying issues, but just something that has been an issue for us over the entire time that I've been here, right? For most of the time that I've been here, right? Chaos Legion, even the team says it now, right? There's just too many cards printed, and they're trying to address that now, and they're doing a fantastic job of doing that, right? With Rebellion and how they're looking about soulbound unlocks and all that. I think the team is very hyper-focused on how to fix it for the future. But one of the things that we could do to kind of backdate that and fix it for the past is start to eat through these cards and give them some extra utility for the players in the game, because gemstones at this point in time are not going to have any value. And if they do, if they become tradable, I mean, that's cool. It doesn't really need to be that way. You could just have it be like research where people start collecting it, right? And then you're just going to have these friendly rivalries of like, oh, let's set up a leaderboard, see who's going to, who can get the most gemstones. Now, what is the drawback to that, right? I talked about the benefits, right? It would help cards, specifically the Chaos Legion set, and it would help with SPS, giving it additional utility. But what about the drawbacks? Well, like in any situation, when you start just putting a new token out there, which gemstones would be, when you start putting a new token out there and you just start minting it out of thin air with no extra or additional utility, what value will it actually have? And will it become too, overinflated over time, right? Because let's imagine, right, in my best case scenario, they get this out in Q2 or maybe Q3, right? We'll just say like early Q2 or early Q3. Again, Land 2.0 in all of its glory. And I'm not trying to be bearish here. With everything that they're trying to accomplish, especially with the player and new player experience coming in first, I don't see that happening for another year plus. So we could just end up minting a year's worth of gemstones and there not be any utility or already use them until Land 2.0 in all of its glory comes out. Would that be an issue? Yes. Right? Yes. And have we seen that in the past? Absolutely. With many and multiple tokens, right? But is it not fixable? And this is where I want to focus in on, because I want to actually analyze how they are treating vouchers now. Vouchers are something that have been overprinted, overinflated for the past couple of years since their existence. Yet now what are they doing? They are increasing the costs of all the things that take vouchers, right? They're giving them some kind of soft peg and adding some value through that, where, to buy a Rift Watchers pack, it was 1 voucher. Well, to buy a Rebellion pack, it's 5 vouchers, right? Who knows what that's going to look like when we have promo cards and maybe a mini set and all these different things. But they're kind of backdating this value to vouchers and the oversupply and the continued overprinting of vouchers by increasing the price. So what Matt could do right now is think like, okay, the way that I had this plan out is if you combine or if you do X, Y, and Z, then you get this many gemstones, and it would require this many gemstones to do this, ABC, whatever it is. All he would have to do is add some kind of multiplier to it. So in the same way that it's just like, okay, well, vouchers now, you need 5 times as many vouchers to do this. He could almost plan ahead and say, well, I was originally planning to do gemstones X, Y, Z, but 1x gemstones to do this. But you know what? Because we're going to start minting them earlier and people will just be sitting on them when the actual costs come out, we're giving them an opportunity to get a head start. So therefore, we're going to 2x or 3x or 4x the cost. And we wouldn't even know about it, right? Because the white paper was very ambiguous in terms of how much things would actually cost. So it's just like, okay, well, if Matt had it at 1x, now he can do it at 4x, right? So it's just like, okay, to mint this thing or to, item or spell or whatever, it's not going to require 1 gemstone. It's going to require 4 or 5 gemstones. And that would be the normal to us, right? That would be the norm and the standard to us when it was released. So again, this is a kind of, this is a calculated risk and opportunity that I think the team could take advantage of by launching the Ancient Ruins thing earlier than whatever they had initially planned. And if, I'm thinking this could come out as early as Q2, sometime later in the spring, once they've maybe had a chance to wrap their heads around, well, they're going to get hopefully conflicts done soon and then wrap their head around like the new player experience things that they're doing. And if they want to get certain elements of 1.6, like, or at least the major elements of 1.6 out first, then they can go and approach this and be like, you know what, this is an early 2.0 thing that we can get because it's going to help cards, it's going to help SPS, and we've already kind of pre-adjusted for the amount of inflation that's going to happen. Now, are people going to jump into this right away? I don't think the masses would, but I think you'd still get a decent amount of buy-in. I mean, I know that for myself, it'd be like, you know what? I think I want to have at least 1 or 2, maybe 10 cards that are just sitting there doing nothing on the rental market, or maybe I'll just go and buy a couple of cards off the marketplace. And again, for me, just to participate would be fun. But then you have all of these land whales out there who are like, well, shoot, right? Like, I want to make sure that I'm going to have gemstones too. Like, this is a way for me to be involved. Who knows how much that could eat up off the marketplace? And it doesn't need to be much in terms of making an impact. It just needs to give people an additional place and an additional way to use the assets that they already have. And again, slowly over time, that new equilibrium is going to pull SPS out of the ranked battle kind of system, right? And when I say that, pull it out of the system, if people are right now, they have like a 10x multiplier. If all of a sudden they're dedicating, right, 10% of their SPS now to this new project or the Ancient Ruins, well, now their multiplier goes down to 9x, right? I know that's not how it works exactly, but just follow me here for like the easy numbers. All of a sudden, they're not earning as much SPS because they decided that there's value in going for the gemstones. So what does that mean? Well, that means that there's more SPS in the pool whenever you decide to dip your toe in it and actually get a win, right? And in the same way with cards, there's a lot of cards just sitting around that this could actually give utility to. And maybe people are putting them on rental. Maybe they're not, right? Because it's just like nobody's renting the cards. So we have a lot of I don't even say ghost cards, but just like hidden cards that are essentially just like dead in people's accounts because they don't have anything to do with it. They don't want to pay the rental fee for them the listing fee on the rental market because nobody's going to rent them and they're not going to make their profit back anyway. And it just doesn't make sense, right? But now it's just like, you know what? It's just sitting there. It's just sitting there. So let me stake it. Let me put some SPS towards it, and we'll see what gemstones we get. So again, just thinking through this idea and obviously wanting to get excited for what the team has planned in Land 2.0. That's where my head is at with this. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm sure my idea is not perfect, so feel free to poke any holes. But if you like it, maybe we can make a push for this as something that, again, I don't know where the team is at in terms of planning and all that, but I would love to see this implemented sooner rather than later, just because infinite card staking has that ring to it and has the potential to not just be a solve for the card oversupply, but really help with the SPS utility as well, giving it one additional direct utility, in my opinion. But that's all I have for you guys in this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.